In this video, we will take a closer look at the lessons that make up the Comprehension Toolkit. In each lesson, you will find a section titled Text Matters. This is where you can find recommendations of what type of texts to look for if you choose to select your own text instead of using one of the suggested titles. In the Resources and Materials section, you will find a list of materials that will be needed for the lesson, including recommended texts. Also, if you are wondering if you need Post-it notes or any sort of graphic organizers, you will find it listed here. My personal favorite is the why/what section. In this section, you will find an explanation of what the strategy is being taught and why it matters to students. Each lesson comes with a lesson frame, and this is a brief outline of a lesson that can be applied to any text. It notices what the teacher moves are and what the teacher language is. The model lesson is a detailed example of the lesson being taught in a classroom with a particular text. Please note when looking at the model lessons that it might not fit your grade level. However, I do recommend you read it as it is very thorough and gives you a better understanding of what the lesson looks like being taught. In the Adapt and Differentiate section, you will find a brief description of different ideas and ways that you can make your lesson work for all learners. In the Reflect and Assess section, you will find examples of student work and different ideas for assessments. You will notice that it will give you indicators to see if the student has applied this comprehension strategy independently. Now on to lesson structure. Each of the lessons follows the exact same structure to allow for routine and rhythm in the classroom. First, you will begin each lesson with connecting and engaging students in the book. This is any way to interest students in the book. It could look like asking them a question, showing them a video, or even playing a game. As mentioned in the previous video, each lesson follows the gradual release of responsibility, meaning that the teacher, at first, will do the comprehension strategy by modeling it out loud. This looks like reading aloud and having the teacher share their thinking as they're reading. In the guided part of the lesson, this is when teachers and students are working together. Students are talking with their peers as well as their teacher about what they're thinking, as well as recording their thinking in graphic organizers or on Post-it notes. Finally, the lesson concludes with the students coming back together and sharing what they either did independently or with a partner, and discussing as a class how using this comprehension strategy helps them become a better reader. Remember that when it comes to these lessons, that teachers teach kids, programs don't. So when you're looking at these lessons, do what's going to work for you and your students. Make sure that your lessons are engaging and feel free to adapt, while at the same time keeping in mind that many of these lessons have best practices in them. You will notice that many of the lessons on your scope and sequence are spread out to take 2 days. That is because we wanted to keep the lessons short and engaging. Also, when looking at the lessons, note that there is a time for review if it's the second day. Thinking visible through Post-it notes, graphic organizers, or any other ideas you might have. When they're making their thinking visible, they can draw or write. Keep in mind though that spelling doesn't count. It's important that we're just focusing on having the students get their ideas on paper. No, you do not have to use the suggested texts. If you'd like to use your own text, feel free and consult the Text Matters section. If you find something that is more engaging for your students, use that. Here is a list of free online resources that you can use to find nonfiction texts for your kids. You may notice that some of your students will need additional practice with applying the comprehension strategies. This could occur during independent reading time, during a small group time, or in any other way that you see fit. Comprehension Toolkit. They have the students doing a lot of social interaction. This is a great tool for students to cement their learning. However, one thing that they mention a lot of is turn and talk. Turn and talk is when students are paired up with a partner and they talk with that partner about a certain topic. Remember, like with all things in the classroom, it needs to be modeled, and practiced a lot. This was a really brief video looking at the lessons in the Comprehension Toolkit. I encourage you to take time and really look at the different lessons through your Google Drive. Also, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And remember, teachers teach students, reading programs don't. Have a good day.